What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to PlayStation Generation, episode 10. My name is Matt, and I'll be your host for today's events. I'm joined, as always, by the big boss himself, Mr. Court Lalonde. What's up, Court?
Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
All right.
Yeah?
It's a Monday.
It is a Monday.
It's raining. Monday. Is it raining for you?
It's is.
Like pouring here.
It's like rain on your wedding day. You know?
Well, we're both in tornado area of Ontario. And Rice is not. So like the London, Kitchener-Waterloo area is a tornado area, and then where I am in Northern Ontario, which is like Innisfil-Barrie area, it's Tornado Alley. So like the other day we had like toonie size hail drop. Oh yeah, like on Thursday. Like it just like the sky just went dark.
Yikes.
Jesus. Okay, well, today I learned because I knew I was in like a snow belt. I did not know I was also in a tornado belt.
Oh yeah, like London, Ontario, I think it gets like the most tornadoes in all of Canada, like area wise. Like it's bad.
Did you know, random London, Ontario fact, that it was once in the 90s the serial killer capital of the world?
Shut the front door.
Serious.
Serial killers.
Yeah, random fact.
That is not a good one either.
It is a fact. I did not promise you a good fact. I just said that there would be one. Also joining us this week, as always, the PlayStation Hokage himself, Mr. Rice Boy. What's up, Rice?
What up? It's so good to be here, as always. Nice to see your beautiful faces, everybody. So good to be here. It's been a good week. It's been a busy one, but a good one.
I'm happy for you, dude. You had a good weekend?
Yeah, it was my little one's birthday. Turned 3.
Right. Happy birthday to the little boy.
Yeah. Nico turned 3 years old. He's a full-grown adult with independence, and he's paying rent now, so that's good.
Amazing.
That works out, dude. That's very good.
Yeah.
I love the number 3. It is as many brain cells as I have. It is how old Nico has. So it's just it's a good number, you know?
Absolutely.
So as a one parent to another, Bryce, this is the last year of innocence. Yeah. Okay.
I know, dude. I know. I'm savoring it, and I won't be okay when he goes off to school and stuff. Because
it's like the last time they're no longer a baby. Like
right.
3 to 4, like people don't, it's a huge gap for a parent. And it's just like, you have this kid that wants to be around you 24 hours a day, and then they go to school at 4, and then you're not as cool as you used to be.
He still asks for hugs and kisses, so I know this is the last year.
It's okay. Once he stops, I'll start asking just about.
Yeah, wow. Absolutely. I need to fill that void somehow.
Hell yeah, my dude. On this week, we are super stoked to be joined by YouTube personality extraordinaire, a platform fighting protege, Mr. JakeSteinberg himself. What's up, Jake?
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be. I think this is my first appearance on this one.
Yes, it is.
Yes, the other one.
Yeah. This is my first
on this one
here.
This one, yes, the only one.
Familiar faces, but yeah, no, I gotta get the vibes of this show. You know what I mean? I gotta settle in, figure it all out. But so glad to be here. It's been, man, I feel like May just whooshing right by my head,
dude. For real.
Yeah. But I'm excited I feel like we're about to turn a corner in the video game season. You know what I mean? Everybody has these mid-year, okay, now we're starting to get ready for the big stuff that's going to come out in the holidays. Now we got to talk. Like, you know, it's like we just had some investor meetings. Now we got to, you know, so I'm excited to turn that corner. I'm excited to turn that corner.
It's like video game Christmas Eve right now. And then next week is Christmas, right? And then we got New Year's, which is like, I guess, Ubisoft Forward because it's after Summer Games Fest.
That's like Boxing Day.
Yeah, fair. That's about it. Yeah,
it's like Boxing Day.
And then New Year's is when we spend all our money, and we're just like, we wake up and we're like, oh, what did we do, man?
Exactly that. I mean, it's a time full of hype, a time full of anticipation, a time full of you know, definitely not, you know, trolls on the internet or anything else going on, tossing stuff left, right, and center. But I'm excited. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff today. We're going to talk MultiVersus. It's why we had to have Jake on, because we're going to be talking about some MultiVersus, and he is the platform fighting Don. We don't go to anybody else for anything platform fighter other than Jake.
Sheesh.
We're going to talk some Call of Duty. We're going to talk a whole bunch of other stuff. But before we do all that, let's kick things off with a round of what's been keeping us busy lately. And Jake, I'm going to start with you this week. What's been keeping your time, my friend? What you've been playing?
I knew this question was coming, and I'm ready to embarrass and shame myself. Because here's the truth. Here's the truth. I'm in that zone right now. You've all been there, I'm sure. I'm going through my PlayStation 5 library. I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, maybe that's what I want to play right now. I spend an hour downloading it. I jump in for 8 minutes and then I go, this isn't it. And I delete that sucker right off my console and I go for something new. So I've really been bouncing around. I think the thing I've been playing the most is probably Fortnite and yeah, I've been enjoying Fortnite. I think Fortnite is really great for these like interstitial gaming periods where it's like comfortable. I know exactly what I'm doing, and yet there's always like something kind of like new and funky to have fun with. And right now they're doing this whole season that's all about like the cars and the vehicles, which normally I couldn't really care less about, but they make it, they understand like how to make it fun. And they do this silly thing right now. I don't know if anybody's playing it, where you're driving around with your car and you literally just see like an item crate. You see like a wooden box, you drive through it, and now your car has some like sick turret or a little battering ram. And dude, guys, I've got this clip saved on my PlayStation of me literally I see like a skirmish on the battlefield, and I'm in my and I see a crate way out in front of me, and I don't know what item's gonna be in that crate. But I have a moment with the Fortnite gods, and I say, listen, we can make something awesome happen right here. I need like the battering ram. I need the spike. So I hit the gas. I'm flooring it. I'm going 80 miles per hour. I'm going towards this skirmish. I hit the item box. I get the battering ram, and I get 3 kills. Boom, boom, boom. Just running them over. 10 out of 10 video game.
So it's almost like Mario Kart.
Exactly.
Esports.
Yeah. And it's so great. There's like a little Thunderdome area in the middle of the map that you can go that's got like little jumps and like fire rings, and you face off against other people in their cars. Such a good time. Fortnite's great. And I always like checking out, like, I know Fortnite is kind of known for the crossover skin. That's kind of like how it gets into the headlines. But I actually think Fortnite is maybe a little underrated in their original characters and theming. And I always just kind of like popping in and seeing like, what weirdo are they giving out in level 31 of the battle pass? What is, you know what I mean?
Like, it's just like this cat face with a massive body and like just a banana tattoo or something else. And then the next one is like, Lord, no, it just looks like a dude in a suit.
Well, and I love Peely. I go extremely hard for Peely. And he ripens over the course of a match. Genius. And yeah, that's right. And now they've got Peabody, who is 3 little peas stacked on top of each other, and he's got these funny little arms, and I just love these guys. It makes me happy. So yeah.
Fortnite's really good. Fortnite's really good just to hop in, because you can play for a bit, you can play for a couple hours, a couple matches, you can play for a couple hours. It's everywhere, so it's easy to access. It's I feel you. I was in that mood a few months ago, and it was Hitman that finally broke me out of it. I randomly decided to start playing Hitman, so I get you. I'm glad that Fortnite is tiding you over until whatever comes next.
MultiVersus is the answer. It's
Court, my dude, what about you? What's been keeping you busy?
Well, as Jake already alluded to, I've been in that stage for like almost a month now. It's actually been driving me insane. But I've been jumping into XDefiant, and thanks to our friends over at PlayStation Canada, I jumped into Ghost of Tsushima on PC. And oddly enough, XDefiant, I've actually kind of enjoyed myself with it. I was actually surprised. I think I do jump into these live service games, and I like them for a little bit, and then I jump out. So far I've done about 4 to 5 hours, I think, according to my PlayStation and XDefiant. Nice. The one thing I do like about it is I suck at FPS. I do. Like, let's be honest here. So way they do it is for their ranked matches, it's based on your skill. So I don't have to go, like, I haven't once gone into a ranked match and not got any kills and just been destroyed, because you can play in the non-ranked, and there's even a practice mode as well, but you can go play, and your skill base, your kill death ratio, that's what puts you into your into the ranked version. So all the very high skill players are actually playing against each other. So from what I understand, it makes it pretty sweaty for those type of players, but a lot of people are enjoying it. So it's 4v4 pretty much. The thing I'm truly enjoying about it is I play a lot of Ubisoft games, so the maps are awesome. So there's like a Division map, there's a Far Cry map, but they're very expansive. There's a lot of places to hide. They remind me of old Call of Duty maps where you could sit in and hide in spots. My only issue I'm having is they need to fix the sniper rifle. People are just pegging people off left, right, and center, and just it's almost become like a cheat code. So yeah, you've been playing it too. So it's bad. It's real bad. But I've been able to I've been able to play on like ranked, and I don't feel like I'm getting the living daylights kicked out of me. They got a couple different, so you can either be Echelon, which is your Splinter Cell, you can be Far Cry, You can be DedSec. And then they have the Division.
Can I ask you a question about this? Where I know that's like every time I see this game, it looks like a first-person shooter in the way that like first-person shooters scare me. I see somebody moving their reticle at a speed that makes me go, absolutely not. And I close out of the window and I go, I'll never play this. But the thing that every time I hear about it, it makes me interested in it is this crossover element of these different Ubisoft franchises. Do you feel that is meaningful? Do you feel that these different factions are like in the game in a way that matters, or is it just kind of like they say they're DedSec?
No, I actually do think they matter. So it's almost a little bit like, from what I understand from people I was playing with, a lot of people described it as Overwatch. So I don't play Overwatch in those hero shooters.
That's not because what I expected at all.
Same.
Yeah, so when I was playing, so if you're DedSec, you get a scrambler. Now, I know probably Rice has it as well. Like, thanks to Ubisoft creators, they gave us the season's pass, so we were able to unlock DedSec right away. So what will happen is, say someone drops a shield, you can use DedSec to destroy their shield. Now that's your secret power. If you're using Rainbow Six, that puts up your shield. If you're using the Division, you get these like fire bombs that get thrown out. Also, if you're DedSec, you can actually get the spider bot and use that as something that can go after. But each yes.
I have a question. So within each faction, right?
Correct.
Are there also, is it a hero shooter disguised as Counter-Strike? Because everything I see makes me feel like it's Counter-Strike, which is what I was interested about it, because I was like, I'm getting Counter-Strike flashbacks in a good way. And but is it a hero shooter? So are there different characters within each faction that have different abilities within the faction, and then each faction has different characters, so on and so forth?
Correct. So each faction has, correct me if I'm wrong, Rice, four characters that we get to unlock. Each character has different things. And then when you get to the final, you'll be able to, once you've unlocked them all, you can just use it based on the skin of the character, but you can change their special power to whatever one you want. So
it's relatively balanced.
Yeah, it's very, like, I was actually shocked. Once you start playing with other people, I was playing with Pez. I was playing with one of Pez's buddies from 3 Dads in the console, and he was explaining, it's like, I went DedSec. He's like, all right, I'm going to be this. And then the other person was that, like, you'll get destroyed if you're all the same character. You will. So
do you all need to be the same faction, or can you be different characters from different factions?
You can be different characters.
Yes, you can be different characters.
So you could be DedSec, I could be Division, Jake could be Splinter Cell.
Yeah, you could also be two people from the Division, because there's different powers each.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So, and then some characters like the cleaners from the Division, their weak spot is the tank, the gas tank on their back. But shooting them in the front, they've got more armor, so they don't get killed as easily from the front. But if you can get behind them, it's like a 2-shot kill.
Oh, that's pretty good.
You got flamethrowers though.
Yes, so their special powers are vicious, man. Like they can kill people real quick. So, and then you have Echelon, who can actually like disappear. So like Splinter Cell characters can like straight up disappear and get behind, and you can flank.
Cool.
I truly think it is they've got something special here, because it's different than anything I'm playing right now.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. Interesting. And Rice, you've been honored as well, because I've downloaded it. I just haven't hopped into it yet. Where are you at, Rice?
Yeah, as someone who is actually in first-person shooters now, being a first-person shooter don't mean I'm a good first-person shooter. It just means I enjoy the experience. Now, that out of the way,
awesome.
X-Defiant is fun. Like, and jumping in with, your squad or a few people, it's relatively easy to get into. There's not this, like, we talked about Destiny 2 last time. There's not this steep curve that you have to kind of go against, and it doesn't seem so intimidating. You can invite someone who hasn't played the game. I would say you can even invite someone who doesn't play first-person shooters, and get in there for a couple hours. You would still have a really great time. It's fun. It's fast-paced enough, but there's also just enough of a cushion for people who are new to it to kind of just get into it within that.
And there's a ton of maps, like so far, and they've got a ton coming. I will say, what did you find about the progression? I felt that it almost, dare I say, felt like a little bit like Halo Infinite. I was like, my bar ain't moving at all. Like, what is going on?
A little bit. That was my actually only note, aside from the actual gameplay, is that like this feels a little bit tough, and there might be some pay to win models along, on the way, and it is what it is.
Yeah, it is a free to play game, so it's almost like we expected at some point.
Yes, exactly. That's part of the model anyway. So, but that said, like as someone who really likes first person shooters, like I said, if I'm playing a PvP something or whatever, if it's balanced, that's like so satisfying to me, right? So, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that. Other than that,
Right? Did you play it when it first came to open beta? Because I did. And what have you noticed the drastic? Like, it wasn't a good game before. It was terrible.
Dude, I didn't want to play it after the beta, and now that I'm seeing a lot of the changes that needed to happen there, I'm so like, yeah, I'm excited to play. And like you said, there is kind of this nostalgia aspect to it for people who do enjoy Ubisoft games, who have played those games, and like when you jump into a map and you're just like, oh snap, I remember this building. Like cool. It's fun, right? Like it's fun for those players, for the community that are kind of loyal to the Ubisoft realm, and yeah, I think it's a great title.
And I think they have like a very good chance of Assassin's Creed Rabbids. Like they are able to make.
No, that's what I was going to ask. Is this thing flexible enough that I could have a Rabbids inspired?
100%. Because not even inspired. They could almost put them.
I'd be in like that.
Oh yeah, I would be extremely.
They could almost put them in the game. Like I wouldn't be surprised, because now that they have Star Wars, so like think about it. You can now. I would think that the next faction would be, if it's not AC when Shadows comes out, then I think they're missing the boat here. But Rabbids I think would be phenomenal, especially if you could do like the suction cut gun.
Of course, shoot a plunger. That is obviously
definitely something like that. But like,
there's room for it.
I truly think. And then Rayman, like, there's way too many franchises.
But they won't let you play as a rabbit. It'll be a Rabbids inspired. They're not going to let you shoot.
Well, that's the thing.
Bullets.
Like, you're playing as an echelon character. You are playing as a cleaner from the Division. You are playing as a character from Far Cry 6. I think they will let us do it.
See, okay, if they go that far, because I'm with Jake here, I don't think they would actually give
they will.
Full-grown rabbit.
They kind of make the game stupid.
Like a 6 foot tall.
No, I don't think they would make it 6 foot tall.
It'll be a little guy. That'll be his advantage.
Lighthearted.
I think the power would be. This is just me. I think the power would be that you would like right click the trigger, the RB button, and that would turn you into like, that's your special power. Like you become a little rabbit for like a little bit.
Transform it. It's silly enough.
Because
it really is
super duper powers that you'll get as you get more kills, you get to charge up this other power that you get to use. And like the DedSec one, you can charge it up and it'll turn off all electronics in the game.
Yeah,
for like a good 30 seconds. So like,
I gotta tell you, they have something. If they're able to execute something on this level, that is a huge marketing bump for them.
That's what I'm thinking.
That is, and I gotta tell you, the release timing of this game, it coming out before Summer Games Fest, before their Ubisoft presentation, you have to think with a service game like this that's free to play, it's up right now, that they are going to be like, here's a big thing to draw in the second wave of the audience. Man, it makes you really wonder what they got in the tank. Dude,
and it's so much different. It's so much different than anything we're playing right now.
Yeah.
And it's free. Like just go, and it's crossplay between everything. That's the other thing. You can't turn off crossplay on PC, people, and I hate it. But it is what it is.
Okay. Interesting.
You can't turn it off.
Yeah. Rice, anything else keeping you busy?
Yeah, I mean the normal Destiny 2 grind that stays on the daily driver, and I'm actually almost finished Stellar Blade. I do have to say, like on a more serious note, Stellar Blade is a phenomenal game.
Real good, right?
It's so good. It's so good. I even picked up the guitar.
Update?
I may have bought a costume for myself in real life.
That's it. If we get on this podcast next week and Rice is out here in a bunny suit, that is the sole reason why Stellar Blade made. I don't need any other reason.
That's it. Yeah, we don't shame anyone here. No, I was gonna say I did pick up my guitar after kind of just listening to the soundtrack of Stellar Blade as well, and it was just I was jamming, man. I love the music that comes along with the game. The gameplay's phenomenal, story's really good. Yeah, pick it up, seriously. Aside from all of the silly stuff that we've been saying that I've been joking about, like Stellar Blade's a dope game.
The combat is phenomenal.
Yes.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, my dude. I'm curious to hear your thoughts when you finish it.
Yes.
and when you get back to 600 hours of Dragon's Dogma 2. As for myself, I've been busy with a couple different things. I hopped into a new PSV. Guys, I finally have a reason to go into the backyard with the shovel and dig 6 feet down and pull the PSVR 2 out from underneath layers and layers of dust and dirt and grime. Because
was it worth it?
So far, yes.
Okay.
Sushi Ben comes out tomorrow. I'll have a review on the website in the next couple days. But for anybody that just loves anime and manga, like this game is fantastic. You go to a seaside town in Japan and you're working with a debilitated sushi shop as there's like a multimillionaire investor trying to bulldoze the area, and you're basically out to try to save the sushi shop and save the rest of the town. It's really, really funny. It looks incredible. It has like these things where when you're in conversations and you're in dialogue, there's like manga panels popping up around to show further expression or to show like a past thing or whatever. It is so charming. I'm only probably about an hour in so far, so I haven't done too much, but the map is bigger than I expected. The fishing, which is a central mechanic of the game, feels great. It's just really charming. I came across Twitter, X, the social media platform for me about last year, and I kept being like, I need to see what this is, because this is everything about this is me. And I got the review key. I hopped in. I'll have more about it in the next few days, but I'm really, really charmed so far, and I'm really enjoying it. The writing's solid.
Super cute.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It is just like, this is the type of experience where they can kind of mess with your immersion by having these manga panels pop up. It's just really good so far. Again, I'll have more about it in the next little bit. But other than that, I hopped into the Rogue Prince of Persia, not on PlayStation yet, but I'm sure it will be when it hits 1.0. I'm enjoying it so far. Very fluid, feels great to play. The item economy needs some work, especially coming from Evil Empire, the developers of Dead Cells, which I loved. Each weapon is just that so far. Like if you pick up dual daggers and you come across another dual daggers, the only thing that changes is that they get slightly more powerful. There's no difference between them otherwise. Like Dead Cells was great because a lot of the weapons that you came across, each of them felt different, even if they were the same weapon, because they had different augments and different modifiers that made each weapon feel different than the one that you just dropped. Or you were able to sell them right away, which you can't do in Rogue Prince of Persia at this point. So if you come across a pickup that you don't need, it's just wasted, and that can be really frustrating after a challenging platforming section to try to get to that treasure chest, to open it and take nothing. And then the medallions similarly are basically the way that you augment your ability. So when you vault over a character, you might drop resin on the ground, and that slows the enemies in the immediate area. But a lot of them kind of fall into the same kind of 4 or 5 groups where all of these poison, but poison, as far as I can tell, doesn't stack. So you'll just come across medallions that you don't necessarily need. So again, it's in early access. They're planning on doubling the amount of content. The combat's really great. There's a Spartan kick that you just launch enemies off of platforms, so as they go careening off to their deaths, which is always entertaining. The movement is just so fluid. It feels really, really good to play. It's launching at $25 Canadian into early access on Steam. So I feel like it's very much worth the price, and I'm sure the price will go up as they get closer to 1.0. But so far, I'm enjoying it. I just think that it just needs a little bit more work. Rogue Prince of Persia is coming to PC, I think, today or tomorrow. Today. It's out today. So for anybody on PC, well worth it. I'm enjoying it a lot so far. It's tough. It's fun. Each area feels great. It's coming from Dead Cells, so you know that the roguelite side of it is going to feel really good. It just needs a little more time to get to what I think it really could be, which is I think it could be really a fantastic game.
I got it today.
Yeah.
So, thanks to Ubisoft. Thank you, Ubisoft. I got a code today, so I will try it out this week.
Yeah. I have my full review up over on But Why Though, so go check it out there.
But why? Sorry?
Though. Exactly. But yeah, that's been, and I've also been playing another game, which I'll have a review on Console Creatures up soon, called Capes. It's basically an XCOM but with superhero.
Capes?
Really good, really hard. Writing, not so good. But the power-ups and the way that the characters combine different abilities is really awesome. So keep an eye out for those coming to the site in the next few days. But without further ado, let's get into some news. And I'm going to start with this one because MultiVersus is coming out tomorrow.
Hey-oh!
And I'm going to start
But it's already out, though, right? This game's already out.
No.
No.
Oh, okay. So it was only early access before. I've never played it, so I don't know.
So it was out for a bit, and then it went away about a year and a month-ish ago, and now it's coming back in its kind of its full launch. So I'm pulling from Kotaku here from an article from Zach Wisen. Apologies if I butchered your name. MultiVersus adds murderer Jason Voorhees and Matrix villain Agent Smith. So MultiVersus WB Smash Bros. Clone, which launches tomorrow, has just added 2 more popular faces to its odd rosters: Agent Smith from the Matrix films and Friday the 13th hockey mask wearing killer Jason Voorhees. And then there's going to be a whole bunch more because there's a new season obviously launching alongside of the game. Jake, you are and you are one of the you have been championing MultiVersus since its inception.
Oh yeah,
I played a bunch of it when it was out last year and really enjoyed my time with it. The thing is, I feel like its launch cadence is odd. It's been over a year since we've seen it.
Yeah.
There's the people know what it is. Why should people be excited about MultiVersus? What is it about this that people should get hyped on now that it's coming out for real?
I think that this whole thing with the release and it going away is so interesting. And I understand how people have this immediate knee-jerk reaction to it. Like, it was in open beta. It charged for access to that for a little bit before when it was in closed beta. And then when it opened up, you could spend money on it. And then this game that you spent money on said that we're going to go away for a little while. And I understand how that rubs people the wrong way. But I actually think that it might be looked back on as like a really great example of how to properly run an early access-esque program, just because I think that what happened is that these developers, who it started out as a relatively small team, started out as like 10 people. And and I need people to understand that this was the best-selling game in June of 2022. This game topped out at more than 20 million players, and it did not have Asian servers. It did not. This game blew up in a way that like games in this genre typically don't, that are direct competitors to Smash Brothers. And it was received well by the like fighting game community. It was received well by casual players. It was doing a lot right when it first came out. And I think what happened is, on the business end, they said, we've got something. And on the game development end, they said, we've got something. And for a while there, in that open beta, they tried to have this cadence of new content and characters, and they were putting them out there. And I think what happened is that they took a step back, looked at everything that was going on technically on the back end, and said, now we know what this game is. Now we understand it. Let's build it from the ground up in a way that we can make it what it should be. And I really appreciate that, because it reminds me of things like Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, where they were like, oh man, we did not make this game in a way that makes it easy for us to add new content in. Oh, what have we done? And then they're just like stuck with it for years. And so now what you see with MultiVersus is that they have rebuilt the game in Unreal Engine 5. And so it wasn't, and you could see it immediately with like the lighting differences in an obvious like player way, but they have said over and over and over again that on the technical end and for their like development needs, this was a necessary change. And one of the big things that they've advocated for is that their rollback netcode that's server based within this new engine is, they talk about it and they say that it is unlike anything that's been seen in fighting games. And we won't know that that's true until the game is out. But I will say I had a great experience with their netcode when it was an open beta. So I think these people might just be crazy. It's, you know what I mean? I'm like, how much better could it be? But here's the thing. I think that MultiVersus is better than a lot of other platform fighting games. Understands kind of the core traits of what makes a meaningful, what makes a good platform fighter. And something that I always point at Sakurai and I point at Smash Brothers is that I say, look, you and we can pull up Smash, we can watch a match, and you know what is super freaking clear? Hitboxes, hurt boxes, every attack, every animation, they're drawn in a way that you, as the person watching, as the reader, you are immediately able to read and understand what an attack is, what its range is, and why it behaves the way that it does. And in any fighting game, that's really important. But to be completely honest with you, I think in traditional 2D fighting games, there is a language that has been built up institutionally and over time in the fighting game genre, where they actually have a language that is a little bit more their own. Like why does this little down kick move have the most range in my full move set? And why do these jabs flow the way that they do? And I feel like in platform fighters, part of what they're doing when compared to fighting games is trying to make something that is readable, that is easier to understand as it's happening in front of your eyes, which totally makes sense because like platformers, all about seeing the environment, making a read, making a judgment call, whatever. Like it's about spacing. It's about understanding spacing. So I think that MultiVersus understands this, and something that they have changed from the open beta to now is that the characters are bigger. They take up more of the screen, and the camera is closer to them.
Okay,
I like that.
And that to me is a nod to what I'm talking about. The things that are important in these games. Some people have said that they have slowed the gameplay down. That's kind of true, and it's kind of not true. What they've really done is that there was something you could do in the game before called like jump dodging, like a dodge jump. And if you watched any MultiVersus match, it was a lot of like almost Dragon Ball Z, like flying around, like dashing, and you had invulnerability frames, so you weren't getting hit a lot. And it was this game that was like super snappy, but you were doing something that I don't necessarily think made sense in the context of this fighting game. And what they've done is they've now said, okay, this thing that you could do whenever you wanted, you could use as a tool to cancel out of moves that were unsafe and make every move safe. Now they've said, okay, there's a little meter actually, and you can deplete this meter. And once you do, you enter into a burnout state, and you'll see it. Your character does a little dodge, but like sweat comes off of him, and he has no invulnerability frames. So he'll do the movement. And if you happen to use it to get away from somebody else, it will work, but it will not go through an attack. So now it's an adjustment to the metagame, your mental stack, okay, can I make my opponent use all of his little dodgy guys so that I can put him in a negative state? And then that's when I really go after him because I know he has no defense over me. There's no block button. So I feel like they've interrogated the meta of their game and said, what can we get rid of? What can we add to it? And some stuff that they've gotten rid of that I really appreciate. There used to be so many cooldowns in the game, and it was kind of weird. You always had a little eye on this meter below your character, and there were times where characters like Velma could have 5 different moves all on cooldown on different meters at the same time. And they just said, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Okay, so there are all these moves that used to have cooldowns, and now they're just like, just use them. Just use the move. You're fine.
That is awesome. Yeah. So, Court, let me ask you this then, because I feel like, given the kind of the characters here and stuff, you got your Batmans, you got a bunch of like really good throwback characters that I think
Turtles,
like Gremlins. Like I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that I feel like this is your kind of IP area. What is it? Is it just you're not into platform fighters, or are you interested in checking out MultiVersus? What is it with you in this game?
I'll be honest, I was offered an early access code the last time it was out. I gave it to someone else that I felt would really like it. I didn't get into Smash. I've tried so many times to play Smash, and I know people love this game. Nintendo people think this is one of the greatest games ever invented. I don't get it. I just find it just be button mashy and boring, but that's just me personally. I grew up playing Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat in the arcade, loved it. Because the IP, I'll probably try this game, but I wouldn't buy this game to try it. So
it is free to play.
It's
right?
free.
So there you go. So I'll jump in if I can get Batman or I can get to Batman. But if it's too just button mashy the whole time, I'm probably out. Like I just, for some reason,
can I interrogate this a little bit?
You can interrogate because
I find this so interesting. Specifically the charge of it being button mashy. Because when I think about a traditional fighter and when I think about Smash Brothers and just thinking about those two games, the difference between them is that just aesthetically, the characters are smaller and further apart. There's more because
I've never played multiverse. I don't know.
No. I'm just talking about Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So because it's not just a fighter, it's a platform fighter. So there's space that you can move in. Whereas in a traditional 2D fighter, if you're looking at my screen right now, you got one guy here and you got one guy here.
I don't like 2D fighters even
and they're doing this. You know what I
mean?
mean? They're just fighting in this box. And to me, button mashing makes more sense because if I'm in this box, no matter what button I press, I am going to attack the other guy because we are this close together. But if in Smash,
Jake just like leaves, goes across the street.
But you're still just
like, you see what I mean? Like you have to like, you can't button mash because you'll just be attacking the air.
Yes, but at the same time, it's still just like I'm pressing this, I'm pressing jump, or I'm pressing attack. It doesn't interest me. I think
that's fine.
I'm okay with that. Like I grew up playing Street Fighter, and I was just like, it wasn't really into me. When Street Fighter Turbo came out on the SNES, everybody played it, and I was the one who was like, "You guys want to just go play NHL '95?" Like, it just. I couldn't get into it, and then Mortal Kombat, and then with the same with Smash. Like I would sit there at buddies' houses, and people would just be surrounding the television to play Smash on the N64, and I'm like, "Can we just go to the bar?" Like, what is with this? I don't know what it is. It just nothing excites me about it. Even when it came, when Ultimate came out on the Switch, I'm like, you know what? I'm buying it. I'll buy it. You know, Nintendo is, you know, they do so many discounts on their games, and they're never extremely expensive for no reason whatsoever. But I bought the game, and at first I was like, okay, I do like this. And then I was playing it. And then after about 4 hours, I'm like, yeah, I'm never playing this game again. Like what the heck? It's just not for me. Yeah. I don't know what it is. It just,
you like what you like.
Exactly. It just, for some reason, but that I said the same about Fortnite. And then Matt was like, you can go get a Batman skin. And I played Fortnite with Matt for like a couple hours, and I like being Batman. So Ninja Turtles and Batman are definitely my genre. And they're in the game.
No Ninja Turtles.
No,
Batman and Superman.
That's Nickelodeon.
Oh, yeah, that's Nickelodeon Brawl.
Yeah. But I hear what you're saying, Court. And I think something to keep in mind for the listeners is that fighting games, I think, are different from a lot of, like, we're people who play video games. So I think our expectation is that no matter what video game you put in front of us, because we're so ready at hand with a controller, the assumption is that we're going to be kind of good at it, or at least be able to pick it up very quickly. But fighting games are like musical instruments. The knowledge of how to play them is so like bespoke to that game, to that instrument, which is why like the fighting game community can often be seen as like its own little thing over on the side.
It's like a sports game, like
exactly 100%
NHL. Like,
and so it's one of those things where it's like, if you have no drive to commit to learning the instrument, then all of a sudden you're going to be that kid that doesn't want to go to piano lessons. And it's like, why do people want to play this? I don't want to. I'd rather be doing anything else. So I totally understand that. It is
what I loved Injustice. Like Injustice.
Well, no, Injustice is a masterpiece. And
Injustice is incredible.
Are you aware that they've got a single player mode in MultiVersus now, new for the launch, that is just like those Injustice?
I am so excited.
That Injustice single player campaign is probably one of the
so
best.
It's not that. It's the other thing. Remember the MultiVersus? Remember those little like
when you bring down, like when Batman can bring down like Green Lantern or something. Or when I could jump and the Batmobile would come out of nowhere. And...
So they've got this Rift mode, and the idea is that there are like different themes that changes over time, and there are these special challenges that are not only just fights. So they've got like some mini games that, like, you see Wonder Woman using her lasso as a jump rope, and you're jumping along with it to try to stay on it.
Almost like Street Fighter when you beat up the car.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's another one where there's a giant Joker mech in the background, and you're using cannons to shoot at it. Like, they're expanding what I think is possible in the game, and thinking of it not just as a crossover fighting game, but like what can they do within the bounds of like these IP that is still like we're crossing over. We're having these people meet that people and interact with each other. And I think there's just like a lot of good signs here. It's a lot of like saying the right thing right now. But this is the easiest time to say the right thing.
I'm willing to try because as someone that wasn't into live service games, I seem to play a ton of them. So,
well, and I feel like the IP here, I think this is really, a lot of these are kind of your vibe. So that's why I think that it could connect.
LeBron James.
Yeah, he's not my vibe.
Right. Yeah. Where are you at on MultiVersus, man?
Yeah, bro. I was holding my. I was really practicing restraint there. First of all, thank you, Jake and Court for sharing your thoughts. Jake, I just wanted to take a second to be like, first of all, I love you, dude. because you're speaking my language.
Oh yeah.
I love fighting games. I love platform fighters. So you're like you said, like the little intricacies, the language that you develop and even I love the analogy of practicing an instrument, right? Because there is this level of dexterity, of speed, and your analysis of basically what they're doing with MultiVersus, even with the animations, with certain frames, and also what I really enjoyed about MultiVersus that I didn't quite enjoy in other platform fighters, won't name names, but Matt, MultiVersus actually, I love the recovery, recovery of just the characters. I found it quite balanced, and I really, really like that, and I'm really looking forward to trying all of these things out. I think that I am a nerd that goes into fighting games and tries every character and literally just goes through all of their move sets and tries different and creative approaches to even just in training mode. I don't know how many fighters out there go into training mode, but I use training mode all the time just to practice recovery, just to practice your dodges, and then get a really firm understanding of those animations, how they, like you said, behave. And so when you are in a real time setting and fighting somebody, you know all of those moves already. They are in your muscle memory. And you know, I do want to combat the button mashing a little bit because there is a little bit of finesse that you have to apply into a platform fighter. Like you said, like if you are playing that traditional 2D, you are focusing on these combinations of buttons. Like I'm a Tekken player, and I know and understand that there is a certain number of combinations that you need to press in order to execute a combo. But the beauty of a platform fighter is that you can get away from shit like that and like really change the game, really like in a moment of time. I don't know if any of you guys have been witness to a competitive like fighting game tournament, but it is electric. It is electric in there. It is like a sports arena. And when that person gets that win, man, the trash talk, like all of it, the culture and none of the it is a really, really fun community to be a part of. So I just wanted to give you your flowers, Jake, because like everything that you were saying was like speaking to me. So
dude, I want to clarify something too. That comment about the recovery, I think that it's one of the best things about MultiVersus is if you think about Smash Brothers, the map is like the map that you are on has like a bottom, like you could go under it, right? You could and go on the other side, but in MultiVersus, it's like straight walls, so there is no under, and they've got this mechanic in it where you can, like, as any character, cling to the side of a wall and like climb up it. So you get in these like crazy offstage entanglements where like one person's climbing up, the other one's trying to hit them down, and then they're on the bottom and they're hitting up and they're hitting down, and it's at a level of intensity in this genre that cannot exist in Smash Brothers because of the mechanical differences. And I think that's really cool. Yeah.
I also feel like I've played a ton of Smash. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
Me too.
And I feel like MultiVersus is the first game that has felt somewhat close to what Smash is. There's been a lot of platform fighters that do their own thing. All-Stars Battle Royale still deserves another day in the light out here.
Agreed.
But I feel like this is the first one that actually feels like it. I think my major worry, and I'm curious on your thoughts about this, Jake, and then we'll move on to the next thing after this. Do you worry about pay to win? Because that is my issue. That is my worry here. Finding out that the characters are tied to battle passes, right? You would theoretically think that if there is a broken character, or if there's a character that you do want, that you would have to shell out the money to get the battle pass to get towards that character. While others, you know, will give you the characters and then maybe the skins or whatever else, the cosmetics on top of it are what they charge you for. Right. Are you worried about a pay to win situation here if they're locking characters behind battle passes?
Yeah, I'm like not a monetization alarmist. Like I think a lot of the people on the internet want to be, but here's my take. If there is a distinct and obvious balance issue and it is locked into a character that's maybe behind a battle pass, like you say, that is an issue on its own that makes the game bad and an issue that needs to be fixed. So whether or not that is like, oh, okay, so the people that paid for this character get a week of glory before that character is patched. I guess I just don't care that much about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? On my like list of things, I'm just not too worried about that. I think like I think the other thing too is that in a fighting game, I could never see a world in which I'm like, oh, this person only won because they were playing that person. It's like, get good, you loser.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, literally no one is going to beat me, and I'm only playing Superman. All right, it doesn't matter. All right, and then the Tiz in the chat is making a comment here about Overwatch changing this. I do think that there is like a competitive meta difference between a game like Overwatch and a game like MultiVersus, and I just think that like fighting games, I'm not like, I don't know, like so many fighting games have DLC characters.
Fair.
And
I
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't think it's the same. Yeah, I just don't think it functions the same. Yeah,
I think that's a good point, because in a shooter, for example, if I buy a character and you're playing the stock character, my gun could do more damage than your gun if they're using the same type of gun. I will level you faster just because. In a platform fighter, especially, you can use the arena, you can use your skill with the character to circumnavigate certain issues. But
there's no equivalent to stand at each other, both of you shoot, who dies first. There's no equivalent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm excited for MultiVersus. I'm excited to hop in tomorrow. Jake, thank you for the MultiVersus lowdown, because it's also nice to find out that Rice is just such a platform fighter dude, like us.
Oh, dude, my stomach. I had butterflies when he was talking, man. I'm like, woo. So thank you,
guys. Do you know, really quick, last thing? You know, they added a dash attack. Wasn't in the game before. Now there's a dash attack. And
stop playing with me.
I just want to give them some credit again for that early access thing, what they did. And I think the degree to which the game has been mechanically re-examined is something that we don't see a lot in video games. To like, I played so much of that open beta, and now it's like I'm seeing them go, okay, that was a rough draft. And as a writer, I have plenty of rough drafts. And now it's like, okay, now this is I don't know. I think it's kind of cool that we get to be a part of that process, because we never see that.
True.
So I don't know. I just think that that's a neat thing in gaming in general. So I'm excited to see what it's like now.
I'm excited to see how this goes for them, because it is a big swing that they're taking here, and I hope it does pay off.
Yeah.
I hope it does pay off for them, especially because we all know how WB can be. Let's hop into our next story, because we are finally getting Black Ops 6. It was officially announced. This is coming from Console Creatures, written by me. The official Call of Duty account on Twitter confirmed this year's title is Black Ops 6. There was much speculation about the next COD title follow-up on the Black Ops series after the Microsoft teased a special presentation following the Xbox Game Showcase on June 9th, scheduled for 1 p.m. EST, with the Call of Duty presentation to follow. Court, you and I played a bunch of COD last year. What does Black Ops 6 need to do to get you to buy back in?
A campaign that has some, I wouldn't say get rid of that open world aspect that they brought on with Cold War. And it was kind of like, it was a campaign, but it didn't have, I want back to the linear path of Call of Duty. I want to be more suspense, because like Call of Duty Cold War campaign was kind of, I don't know, man. Like it went from do this to it like put a whole bunch of different Call of Duty campaigns into one. And I just feel that they need to get back to those campaigns that we had in the Black Ops series, like in Black Ops, the original one, Black Ops 2. I want some linear path campaign with suspense. Now, the fact that they're talking about all this conspiracy stuff and you know, putting the mask all over the Mount Rushmore, I am very intrigued. I really hope that they really go with the espionage Black Ops old school campaign, you know, 8 hours, linear path, and suspense to this, you know, thing that we didn't see coming in the end. Instead of like what they've been doing lately, where the campaigns just feel almost like murky and lost. Like the story is conjointed. It doesn't even make any sense half the time. And then by the time you just get to end of the campaign, I just feel like I'm just trying to kill people to get to the next stage of the campaign. I don't really care about what's going on in the story.
I feel like it was also like the loss of the giant set pieces. Now they were there, but I feel like you're mentioning, they get lost in the giant spaces that weren't very engaging to actually move through. So I'm with you. Because again, COD Modern Warfare 3. Steve in the chat, yeah, Modern Warfare 3 was the one that you and I played a lot of.
Which was great.
Yeah, which was the campaign was not. The multiplayer was great.
Correct.
I'm now bought back in enough on the Call of Duty mythos that I'm actually curious to see what this was, because I have not been engaged in Call of Duty for many years. I've always been more of a Battlefield guy. I don't think I've really engaged in a COD before Modern Warfare 3 since probably Black Ops 1 or 2. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do to kind of, you know, to really make me care again. Rice, as the resident first-person shooter What do they need to do here to make you stoked?
Bro, okay, so look, I am Call of Duty Black Ops 1 stan. And I loved everything about that game, including the zombies mode. I really, really dove into kind of building a skill around running a zombie train, understanding the movements of them. And, you know, coming back to zombies on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 was fun, but vastly different from that experience. Am I saying that they need to bring back zombies in the way that they did before? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I think that first experience and Black Ops 2 were really great because to what you're saying, Court, the campaigns are really important to me. I don't know. There are a lot of people who just love just jumping into the multiplayer and that's all they play forever. But a part of the experience for me, what drew me into the Call of Duty mythos, as you say, Matt, was the campaign. That's what I played that first. Then I got into multiplayer. I know that is definitely a divided take, but I really enjoyed those stories. So something that really, really is compelling and engaging in terms of the story. You know, we talk about stories all the time, Court. Like we need something to really immerse us into that world in order for us to actually invest into the rest of the gameplay. Because I mean, we've played these shooters before in that we understand the mechanics. The other stuff is muscle memory. So give us something new, maybe some cool, you know, like you say, the espionage part of it.
Yeah,
some cool weapons, some, you know, cool approaches, maybe even some more stealth options. Like I would love that.
and not just like killing guys and like throwing them in an office stealth options.
Totally.
Like and what in the last Call of Duty, it was amazing. That prison, the whole part of the prison, that's fantastic. And then all of a sudden it was just like, all right, like the rest of the campaign was like not even suspenseful, not as intense. Nothing about it mattered. And I'm just like, all right, like, whatever, man. They used to do campaigns where it was just like watching an action movie from the 80s.
Yeah.
And they got away from it and they need to go back to it because they were so engaging. I'm a campaign person as well, Rice. I think campaign matters. That's what gets me into Call of Duty. I'll play the multiplayer, but I'm not good. So after a while, I'm just like, except once. I was playing with Matt this year on Rust, and for some reason, I was Mr. Indestructible, but that only happened once.
Jake, write it down. Jake, is Call of Duty doing anything for you?
No, and I don't think it can. I kind of see, for me and my tastes, I kind of see it as like a bit of a washed franchise. And I think that I think so much about these sports games. My older brother, Jesse, he's an attorney. He plays, you know, a few video game franchises, and he always comes in for like the Madden, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, and year after year, he tells me, "What is going on with these people? I'm done with EA Sports. They're driving me crazy every year." And I tell him, and I'm like, "Dude, it's because they got 7 months to make this game." And, you know, the game production costs and everything, it just gets harder and harder to squeeze what you need out of that 7 months, right? Yeah. And I think that like Call of Duty, you have these different teams, you have whatever, all this other stuff going on. They still kind of, in my eyes, face a similar issue. And I think for me, I ask myself, like, what would it take? What would a Call of Duty game need to be to ignite interest outside of the interest that it has right now, which is this yearly visitation audience that is like pretty much going to buy that game because it is such a mass product every year, no matter what. Same as the sports games. And so much of it to me comes, for listeners that may not know me, I'm a screenwriter and narrative consultant, right? And I think like so much of it for me comes down to, at the end of the day, it's a war story. And and it's hard to get me in on a war story, right? Sure. Mm-hmm. It's hard to get me in on something that is at its core going to be framed as a good guy, bad guy thing. Mm-hmm. And as somebody with like deeply rooted politics and a political perspective, there's always going to be something in there that maybe raises a flag for me. And I think it's tough when I see these stories trotted out year after year. And one of them goes, look, we are showing the consequences of war. Aren't we deep? Thank you. Thank you. And I just think it would, there's two roads, right? And I think one of them is exactly what Court said. It is spectacle. It is a amusement park ride in the form of you're wearing the costume as a war hero, going on a crazy adventure with all these big set pieces. That, I think, totally makes sense for them. Right. The other route is, for the love of God, write a character. For the love of God, write a character that people are interested in. Write a character that people say, I want the next game to have that character too. I want to see this.
I wish they really have never really done. That's
no, never.
Yeah.
Literally never. And their characters that they do are they're stunt casting. It's we're gonna get a celebrity to play this one-off character, often the villain, and do this thing, and it's pastiche, right?
And often it's not a movie actor that we don't want to talk about after the fact. They don't do a very good job of picking actors. Jesus.
And so much of Call of Duty is war pastiche. It is trying to capture this kind of nebulous thing, and I wish they said, hey, I've got a great story to tell, and it happens to take place with war as a backdrop. But that's not what it is.
Like Spec Ops. Like Spec Ops, I think, was a fantastic example of a game that took war and actually told a decently interesting story with actual consequence. But
could you imagine Call of Duty game starts up, your main character, the protagonist, the person you're playing as, their defining character trait is that they don't want to be there. What would that look like? You know what I mean? And what would that add to every action that you participate in? And it's like, but does that mean
they almost had that back in the day in the World War II ones? Because you would have characters where they were scared, and there was the realism there. And I think when they started going into the future, like they almost lost me. Like I almost think they should just make the Expendables the video game and just make it as stupid as possible, because when they do the realism stuff, one, the controversy surrounding it is always just like, oh my God, it's just annoying at this point. And two, why'd you have to do that? Did you do it for controversy? I never feel like it was one justified, and they did the realism because they really wanted to send a message. I really feel sometimes they do the realism and the shock value for that. Yeah. And that's what sucks.
To push copies.
Because war sucks. Like I'll give my grandfather fought in World War II. He landed on Juno Beach. He was one of the very first Canadians. I still are actually going to take my daughter to Paris, and we're going to go see it for the first time. But he walked out of Saving Private Ryan. And I've talked to a lot of war vets at the time when that movie came out. They said that's the most real movie you'll get. You have your Platoons, Apocalypse Now. Those are just Hollywood movies. But I don't think if you're going to do realism and make us feel like you were saying, give us a character, you'd have to go almost Saving Private Ryan. And I don't think they can do that.
Like they don't have the chops.
I don't think they have the chops. I think that's hard. I think Rockstar has the chops to do something like that. Yeah. I think actually Naughty Dog's proven they can do a story, but like, I don't think the Activision, the churner of games, can do that kind of a story if you're going to do war.
I don't think they want to.
I don't think they care to.
I don't think they'll sell copies as well. Like they're looking for the big dumb thing that is going to move units.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they can.
Not for the emotionally resonant story.
Like Jake, they couldn't write that story because they don't want to.
Yeah,
which I know, and it kind of drives me nuts because I think like then what you get into is this kind of spectacle thing, which I understand from a video game perspective, but to be a little vulnerable here. As a Jewish person, there is something built up in me that I think a lot of people don't understand, where I just need to accept that stuff with Nazis and going to go kill Nazis has been commodified to hell and back to such a degree that I just have to accept that the persecution and like insane violence of my literal lineage is used for the sake of like making other people feel something in this game that really doesn't otherwise care about me or my lineage. And like I just have to like eat that. And it's tough because I'm not going to stop the Call of Duty machine from fighting Nazis, obviously. But I would love it if just once one of these video games that you kill Nazis, you kill Nazis, you kill Nazis. I would love it if just once they said something that meant something to me, and they never have. So,
I feel for you, Jake, and I really hope that one day comes true, but I don't know if we'll ever see that day.
Luckily, Wolfenstein
could ever do it.
No. Wolfenstein, on the other hand,
Wolfenstein,
Indiana Jones. That story
Indiana Jones, you know it's gonna be fighting Nazis.
Indiana Jones, yeah, we'll see.
But but they do comedy, and it's almost like and it's direct, like created and directed by a person. So I guess he was allowed to do what he wanted to do in that.
Yeah, Indiana Jones is just that's different. They're like doing something of quality over there.
But like Call of Duty tries to take the thing I get frustrated by Call of Duty, and especially when they redid all the Modern Warfare, they tried to take themselves too seriously, and they're like, we're gonna be real, and I'm like, you're not though.
Yeah,
I don't feel for any of these characters. All these mini missions you're going on, I don't care.
No,
there's a certain kind of person that is like fascinated by like the construction of a gun, and that that kind of person, I think, is like the person Call of Duty most tries to talk to. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like this very like technical, unemotional, detached like look at war as like a historical fantasy almost, and not so much as like a real people, real feelings, real like consequences. Yeah,
because like that year we got Band of Brothers from EA and we got World of War from Activision. Those were good stories for war games, and I don't think we've gone back to that in a really long time, man.
And I don't know if we ever will, unfortunately. But folks, let's hop into a couple questions to round out the show because we're starting to run a little bit long here. All in good conversation. Sumit Roy, the homie at Black Wyver, writes in saying 2024 has had some awesome games so far, and we're only 5 months in. Here are some questions for you all. He's got 3, so let's let's roll through them. What is your GOATY so far? Court, let's start with you.
Helldivers 2. I don't even like it's right away. Like the amount of fun I had playing with people, and I know we kind of fell off because we've had to review other games, but it's still on my console. And I still hop in every now and then. And the other game, it's I don't think there's anything that even comes close. And like Stellar Blade's up there for me, but it's not even close to Helldivers 2. And like I just finished doing Hellblade 2, and I would say Stellar Blade I had more fun with Stellar Blade over Hellblade, and Helldivers 2 is just so good in so many ways. I had way too many laughs for that game.
Seriously, Rice?
Man, I don't know that I'll get this, but I really, really I loved Prince of Persia so much. And that one is an interesting one, even for me, because just like the Metroidvania genre isn't necessarily something that I really like dove into playing games, but I just fell in love with Prince of Persia, the Lost Crown, and so like I'm rooting for that one. I'm rooting for that one for sure.
Jake?
So tough. I'm still obviously coagulating. My answer might change the more that I think. I'm currently playing Paper Mario 1000 Year Door for the first time and having so much fun, but I'm only in chapter 3, so I've got to come back to this. Not a tip of the cap, Infinite Wealth, tip of the cap. But I think it's got to be, if I'm saying something right now, 1000X Resist.
Ooh. Yes, I'm with you. See, I for me, it's the reverse. A tip of the hat to 1000X Resist, but Infinite Wealth for me was just so lovely, good. I loved everything about it, and for just the culmination of Kiryu and everything else, it's just so good. What is your biggest disappointment so far in 2024?
Can I go
easy.
First?
Go.
Suicide Squad kills the Justice League.
Suicide Squad.
Like come on now. I'm a DC fan. That game, I haven't even bought it yet. And the amount I know someone who works for DC, and I'm not gonna like burn him. He says the game is absolutely terrible, and like everybody there thinks it's bad. Like they got so bad that he didn't want to get me a code for the game because he was like, dude, it would tarnish what you think of the genre. Like he's like, it is bad. He's like, the story is bad. Like people that work that made Batman think the game sucks. Like it's bad.
Well, especially because it was not just the game that was bad, but everything since then has also been bad. Like the beginning of their new season with the Joker and all this. It's just What game that is yet to be released in 2024 are you looking forward to playing this year? What's on your radar for the rest of the year? I think for me, and I'll maybe speak for Court and it's Star Wars.
It's Outlaws for sure.
I feel like there's still a lot we don't know for the rest of the year. But from what I
we'll know
from what's out there right now, it's Star Wars Outlaws.
100%.
I love that you guys say that because I look at that game and I just think there's nothing fun looking about that game.
Oh,
I watch all those presentations
Star Wars. It
and
looks
I
like
go,
Star Wars Uncharted. It
looks like a PS3 game. I agree.
And the guy who loves Pokemon games,
PS3 game design.
He lives off his Nintendo games and he's calling that a PS3 game.
No,
come on now.
Stop. It is.
Those
so
things look like Super Nintendo games half the time.
I don't know. I think if that game didn't have the word Star Wars attached to it,
you know what? You're probably right
for it. Yeah.
But from what I understand,
that
they say a lot of, as a Star Wars fan, them telling me a lot of the story is canon. It's like, oh damn! Like,
isn't that like that their rule now? Isn't like everything kind of?
I don't know if it's a rule because like with Jedi Fall, was it the not Jedi Fallen Order, the first one, Survivor? No, Survivor's the newest one. Fallen Order when it first came out,
right?
Cal Kestis wasn't. He is now canon. Like Jesus, he's in the Mandalorian. Like, well, hints of him are in the Mandalorian and such. But maybe you're right, Jake. But as a Star Wars fan, like I grew up in the 80s and in the 90s, we didn't get much Star Wars. Then we got the prequels in the early 2000s. So when everybody complains they're getting their Star Wars overload, I'm like, I don't care. Like I'll
this is mine.
It can be bad, and then I'm like, okay, that's bad. I'll just say it's bad. But then you can get Andor, and you're like, that's amazing. Or like, it's just, I want to try it. So I'm anticipating that. But if I had to not say Star Wars, because Matt already said it, it's Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like 100%.
Yeah.
It's been the Assassin's Creed game I've been asking for, Jesus, for years. And unlike most people, I didn't really enjoy Valhalla. I played 90 hours to finish it. And I was still like, I didn't find it. It's the most un-Assassin's Creed game that they've ever made.
When will it end?
Yeah. And Shadows looks like an Assassin's Creed game. So I'm very excited about Shadows.
Bryce? Is it Star Wars?
Which one? Yeah, Star Wars was going to be an answer for that. Yeah.
So you got to pick a different game.
Yeah.
So I had to. I went off the board there.
Jake, what about you?
Listen, I'm also going to say, I also look at every Assassin's Creed game and go, why do people like this?
Bro!
I just don't get it. I play Ghost of Tsushima and I go, oh, this plays better than every single one of those games.
But so that's why I want Shadows. Ghost of Tsushima, like I said, I'm playing it on PC right now. Yeah. And remember how I was like, I'm going to play Red Dead? I think I'm just going to finish Ghost again because it's like the best game in the last 10 years. It's so good.
For me, the answer actually is just MultiVersus, and we've talked about that enough. But also just a little tip of the cap. That new monkey ball looks kind of good.
I didn't even see
a little new monkey ball game.
Let's go, monkey ball. Look at that.
Gamer Graham writes in at GTM618 with an interesting question. Would you rather a Lego version of Horizon Forbidden West, God of War, or The Last of Us?
God of War.
God of War.
Easily God of War.
Yeah, easily God of War. I think we already have the Lego version of Horizon. And I think The Last of Us, I do Lego with my daughter. So for me, I can't do like I'm wearing a Last of Us, Pearl Jam Last of Us t-shirt right now. When she gets home from school, I'm going to change because she hates this shirt.
Wow.
So because she doesn't like the clicker look. Yeah. And I do a lot of Lego with her. Like Horizon would be cool, but I still think God of War Lego, I could still
God of War, man.
Her. But I can't do Last of Us Lego.
You know what would be great about the God of War Lego is that they could do that thing where once you contextualize something in the world of Lego, it becomes a joke. And like the aggressive violence of God of War, which is inherently a little like the ultra violence is inherently a little humor. There's like humor to it. You could do this hilarious thing where Kratos is like ripping people's heads off and it's like a Lego head. And that is amazing. Like a little Lego Mimir, dude. Like, come on, dude. Like, no.
So true.
In one thing we never talked about last week in the predictions, that Lego Horizon game, if that's real, oh my God. I'm so
very curious to see what that will look like. I'm very, very curious. And of course, our final question comes from the Tech with the Specs himself, Steve Vigvari at SVigvari, saying, hi, PlayStation generation, long time, first time. I have a question that feels perfect for an episode with Jake. Are there more eyes or legs on Earth? Explain.
Jake, you're answering this. I Googled the answer, so you can go.
Sorry, eyes or legs?
I Googled it.
Eyes or legs? So okay. So I think what's important here is that this is not human eyes or legs.
It's anything. It's any eyes, any legs.
And I think so. Immediately, legs has to be the answer.
Legs has to be
because, but then, hold on. Don't go. Not so fast, guys. But then think about insect.
You're right.
Some insects out there have literally like 1 million eyes over the course of like
a million legs, like a centipede.
And that's a good point too. So I actually think that they're. So
the internet is so I think it's eyes as well, and so does the internet. But then there's a whole Reddit theme, a whole Reddit thread, and I'm sure Steve knows about this, and I'm sure that's why I asked it, of people disagreeing with that because of the insects with legs, because like spiders and centipedes.
Right.
But then they bring up like, you have to classify what an eye is, because in some insects they have an eye inside an eye.
That's what I was thinking, Court. Right. I was like, but those aren't necessarily eyes, just because
if we're just saying one singular eye, and if they have a lens inside of a lens, and we're not counting that like in a fly, and we're just counting the one eye, then it is legs. But if we are counting the lenses,
Steve in the chat, but the fish don't have legs, but they do have eyes.
So
adding to the eye total.
That is incorrect. Not some fish do have legs.
Sure, like
there
octopi.
There are flying fish, and it's just like there are snakes originally did have legs, and some of there's still snakes to this day that are born have exoskeletons inside them with legs. So if we really want to get into the whole science of the thing, there are many fish with legs.
Listen, there's a large percentage of the ocean that remains like undiscovered by humans. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in the ocean. So there could be some 32-legged little guys with toes walking around down there. We don't know.
In the Bahamas, it's very common. There's flying fish in the Bahamas. They literally have their fins almost look like wings, but they have straight up claws like birds.
All right, I'm done with them. Nope.
All right.
Pokemon.
This was a good one because I do like science, and I watch a lot of National Geographic with my kid. So
hold on.
Steinberg.
So now, does the size of the eyes or the legs matter? Like if Godzilla is real, is it just two legs?
The answer is legs, but if you count the lenses, it's eyes.
And like, do people with glasses have 4 eyes?
No. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Also,
I think they do.
I take offense to that.
Kaiju.
Someone who has glasses here, when I put these on, my eyes are better, but they are 2 lenses. They are 2 sets. My brain doesn't know the difference.
So maybe it's just approaching infinity.
My head hurts. This brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and hanging out with us. Jake, as always, an episode with you is one of my favorite. It is always such a pleasure having you on. Thank you for joining us. It's been a blast. Where can people find more of you?
Follow me on Twitter or X at Jake Knows It, knows like the thing on your face. And I am on YouTube, youtube.com/at JakeSteinberg. And I've got a Substack coming out soon, but I'm like building a collection of essays before I launch it. So stay tuned on that. I've got like 3 finished. I'm trying to get like 6 finished. So
nice.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yeah.
Court, where can people find you?
You can find me on socials at Court Lalonde, or you can find me Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. on 3 Dads in a Console, or you can find my written work at Console Creatures.
Rice, my boy.
Yeah, we are streaming this week on Thursday. We are doing some Destiny open lobbies, and that'll be on Rice Boy with 3 Ys TV on Twitch. And you can follow me on that same handle on all socials.
Go find Rice. Go find Jake. Go find Court in all of the places. You can find me over on X, the seminal social media platform, at Matt_SilverSoul. You can find my words over at Console Creatures and at But Why Though. As always, thank you for listening. We will see you next week. Peace.
Boy.